There's a continent on this planet that doesn't behave like a place at all. No cities, no borders, no permanent residents, just ice, and the uneasy sense that we've reached a limit we weren't supposed to cross. Welcome to the Waxenvein Ledger, where we keep track of the questions the world hasn't answered yet. Few places embody that uncertainty more completely than Antarctica, a continent that has always kept itself out of reach. And here's the part that should already feel a little uncomfortable. We know more about the surface of Mars than we do about what lies beneath the ice at the bottom of this world. One is over 100 million miles away. The other is right below us. That alone should make you pause. Antarctica is the coldest, driest, windiest place on Earth, and somehow also the least explored. Including all its islands and ice shelves, it's almost twice the size of Australia. And about 90% of the planet's ice lives there, stacked into a sheet so thick and deep that in some places it buries entire mountain ranges. Not hills, mountains. Layers pressed down for millions of years, compacted into something closer to stone than snow. Drilling through it can take years. Equipment fails long before people do. Without warning, storms can make it impossible to see. And once you're inland, there's no quick exit, just white in every direction and the knowledge that mistakes don't get second chances. For most of human history, Antarctica was literally a blank space on the map. People argued about it, imagined it, drew it from guesswork, and then avoided it. Not because they lacked curiosity, but because the continent punished it. Ships were crushed, crews froze, expeditions barely survived. Antarctica didn't resist exploration politely. It made it clear you didn't belong. Which makes it even stranger that when we finally started looking closer, the story didn't get clearer. It got more unsettling. Because Antarctica wasn't always a frozen wasteland, and I don't mean a little warmer, I mean forests, actual forests, trees rooted in soil, rivers cutting through land, wetlands, life. Fossilized leaves were found just a few hundred miles from the South Pole, leaves from trees that only grow in mild, temperate climates. Later, researchers uncovered entire fossil forests still standing upright, trunks turned to stone, frozen where they once grew, pollen preserved in sediment, ferns, conifers, evidence that around 100 million years ago, Antarctica supported ecosystems you'd never expect to survive months of polar darkness. That alone is strange enough. But it opens a bigger question. If Antarctica used to be green, where did all that land go? Because it didn't disappear. It got buried. Using satellite data and ice-penetrating radar, scientists have mapped vast landscapes hidden beneath the Antarctic ice sheet. And what they found wasn't flat. It was structured. Valleys, ridges, river systems, an entire ancient landscape sealed beneath the ice, preserved like a world put on hold. Some of it hasn't been touched by air or sunlight in over 14 million years. Imagine taking a continent, covering it with a mile of ice, and pressing pause on it for millions of years. No erosion, no weather, no footprints. Antarctica functions like a frozen archive. And if you think that archive only stores rock and dirt, Antarctica has a surprise for you. The ice hides more than land. It hides water. Hundreds of subglacial lakes are trapped beneath Antarctica, sealed under kilometers of ice, completely cut off from the outside world. The most famous, Lake Vostok, has been isolated for possibly 20 million years. No sunlight or oxygen, just liquid water kept warm by geothermal heat and pressure. When scientists finally reached it after drilling for decades, they expected nothing. Instead, they found life. Microorganisms thriving in total darkness, surviving on chemical reactions rather than sunlight. Life that evolved without ever knowing the surface world existed. Which is incredible, and also quietly disturbing. Because if life can thrive there, under that pressure, in that isolation, without light, then Antarctica stops being a dead place. It becomes a hidden one. and occasionally that hidden world spills out. One of the most unsettling examples is something called blood falls, a name that sounds less like a geological feature and more like a place vampires would put on a brochure. Deep in Antarctica's McMurdo dry valleys, a bright red waterfall pours straight out of a glacier, in a place where waterfalls have absolutely no business existing. Just endless white ice, and a streak of crimson sliding down its surface like the continent itself has sprung a leak. When early explorers first discovered it, they had no idea what they were looking at. The water didn't freeze, it didn't fade, it kept flowing. Against every expectation, liquid water was emerging from solid ice in one of the coldest deserts on Earth. Today, scientists believe blood falls comes from an ancient iron-rich body of water trapped beneath the glacier, water that's been sealed away for millions of years. When it reaches the surface and meets oxygen, the iron oxidizes, turning the flow a deep rust-red color. The explanation makes sense, it's logical, it's well-studied, and still, it doesn't feel comforting, because hidden inside that red water are microorganisms that survive without sunlight or oxygen, feeding instead on chemical reactions. Life that evolved in complete darkness, under crushing pressure, and never needed the surface world at all. Blood falls is a reminder that Antarctica isn't sealed as tightly as it looks, that beneath the ice are systems still moving, still changing, still very much alive. And if something like that can quietly spill out of a glacier, it makes you wonder how many other things beneath the ice haven't surfaced yet, or haven't been noticed when they did. Because sometimes, Antarctica doesn't hide its strangeness at all. Sometimes it leaves it in plain sight. In the remote Ellsworth Mountains, there's a peak that looks oddly familiar. From above, it has sharply defined faces and a pointed summit, a shape so precise it's often compared to a pyramid. Geologists point to natural explanations: erosion, wind, ice, and millions of years of freeze-thaw cycles shaping rock into clean, angular faces. All of that makes sense, and yet the shape still gives people pause. Because Antarctica has a way of producing features that technically have explanations, but still resist being neatly resolved, forms that feel a little too orderly, a little too intentional, and a little too strange to be easily dismissed. And here's the part that often gets overlooked. Antarctica isn't mysterious because no one's tried to study it. It's mysterious because studying it is brutally hard. Ice thick enough to crush equipment, storms that erase visibility in minutes, temperatures that make machinery fail before humans ever do. Every expedition is a gamble. Every drill site takes years of planning. Every discovery is a narrow glimpse through a keyhole, not a full picture. Most of what we know about Antarctica comes from fragments, radar scans, satellite data, ice cores, indirect evidence of a place we still can't properly reach. Which brings us to the part that makes people lean back and ask the uncomfortable question: why does this place feel so controlled? In 1959, at the height of the Cold War, when nations were very much not agreeing on things, 12 countries signed the Antarctic Treaty. It declared the entire continent a place for peaceful purposes only. They agreed on no military activity, no nuclear testing, and no territorial expansion. Science would be shared, cooperation would be mandatory. On paper, it's one of the most successful international agreements ever created. But psychologically, it does something interesting. When the most powerful nations on Earth agree to demilitarize the largest unexplored landmass on the planet, it creates an unusual impression that whatever lies there is important enough to approach with restraint. Antarctica isn't technically off-limits. Scientists work there, tourists visit the edges, but the interior, millions of square kilometers of it, remains largely untouched. Restricted airspace, protected zones, permits layered on permits, environmental reasons, logistical reasons, all valid, and yet the result is the same. A continent that feels watched more than walked, And that shifts the question from what is Antarctica to what's under the ice that we haven't seen yet. The truth is that we genuinely don't know, not in a dramatic way, in a factual one. What we do know is that Antarctica holds records of Earth's climate stretching back over 1 million years, trapped in bubbles of ancient air. We know it hides landscapes older than human history. We know life exists there in ways that challenge what we thought was possible. And we know that most of it remains unexplored, not because we're finished, but because we physically can't get there yet. Antarctica doesn't give up its secrets easily, and maybe that's why Antarctica feels like the edge of our understanding. Not because of one hidden truth, but because so much of it remains unanswered beneath miles of ice. A place that remembers climates we've never lived through, ecosystems we'll never see, landscapes no human has ever walked on, all preserved beneath a surface that looks empty, but absolutely isn't. The ice is melting faster now, cracks are forming, shelves are breaking. Antarctica isn't silent anymore, it's starting to speak. And what it reveals may not be a hidden truth or a forbidden discovery, but something more unsettling. A reminder that our planet still has pages we haven't read, and that some chapters were never written with us in mind. So here's the question I'll leave you with. If Antarctica is preserving Earth's past under all that ice, what do you think is waiting to be revealed when more of it finally thaws? Let me know in the comments. If this felt like the kind of mystery worth sitting with, give the video a like. And if you want more stories pulled from the quiet, hidden edges of our world, you know where to find me. Until next time, keep your curiosity sharp and your mind open.